I hear you are writing a new opera, Herr Mozart.
Don Giovanni is based on the story of Don Juan.
Can I be of some help, perhaps?
I've discovered a beautiful young soprano, Susanna Luptak. You have the most beautiful smile.
I believe him to be a man without morals. He flirts with an innocent young woman in whom I have a professional interest.
Baron Salukatsu, very handsome, wealthy too.
观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看今天的对话好莱坞，我是主持人蓝天。那今天呢，我们邀请到的两位嘉宾呢，是刚刚荣获我们第13届中美电影节最佳国际片的 Interlude in Prague 的导演和制片人，掌声欢迎我们的奥斯卡得主 John Stevenson 以及制片人 Brian Ashby. Can you please say hi to our audience?
Hi, great to be here.
How are you guys doing today?
Hello, it's good to see you. Be with you all. I wish I could see you. It'd be nice to see audience feedback.
Welcome. How are you guys feeling today?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good.
How do you guys feel that you have won the 13th Annual Chinese American Film Festival Best International Film, Interlude in Prague? How does that feel?
It's surprising and fantastic. I mean, we are genuinely, we do feel very blessed and very honoured to be. For our film to be in the festival at all was fantastic.
Right.
I'm more amazed than John is because John's won awards before, and this is my first screenplay ever.
Oh.
So I'm delighted that we've got an award for it.
He is the devil. He must be punished.
恭喜所有的获奖电影！最佳国际合拍电影《布拉格的间奏曲》，导演约翰·史蒂文森先生。
Thank you very much indeed, everyone. It's a fantastic honour and a great surprise, I have to say. I just want to say one very big thank you to Mr. Brian Ashby, who's in the audience with me this evening, who made the making of this film possible. Not only did he write it, but he also produced it, and without him it wouldn't have happened. I think this is a wonderful festival. I've thoroughly enjoyed this evening. Thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you, James Sue, for inviting us, and thank you so much for this. It's wonderful. Thanks a lot.
You're super lucky then. This is your first film ever, and you already won an award. That is
more luck than
insane.
judgment, you mean?
Right, that is insane. And I know in the beginning, in the intro, I actually mentioned that you're an Oscar Academy Award winner, but it's actually from scientific and engineering area,
it is.
Industry. How did you make such a huge jump to entertainment? How does that even happen?
It is an entertainment award. It's an Academy Award. But at the beginning of my career, I was doing visual effects and special effects more than. And so I was part of a company, and we invented a particular piece of computer software, which we used for some films. And that was what I got the Academy Award for.
Oh, I see. First of all, I have to say, I love your accents. Where are you guys from?
Well, I'm from London, and Brian's from Derbyshire.
I'm from Derbyshire.
Ah.
We're both from England.
Wow, I've always wanted to go to England so much. So let's talk about Interlude in Prague. So what's the synopsis for this film?
Well, it's essentially about 5 months in the life of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Famous composer, who went to Prague specifically to write an opera. In fact, he went to Prague to get away from a life that he wasn't enjoying, particularly in Salzburg.
And initially for that specific performance, the last performance of Marriage of Figaro.
So anyway, 5 months in Prague,
and between him,
it's about the things that happened to him whilst he was in Prague, which influenced the writing of Don Giovanni, which is a very famous opera.
I think everybody knows.
Yeah.
Right, that too. And it happened in 5 months?
It was something, initially it was 5 months. He actually went away and then came back again to do the premiere of the opera was in Prague as well. But it's really, I mean, the city of Prague is one of the stars of the film. it really is. It's really about what that city gave to him and how it influenced him. It's actually a thriller. You know, it's actually quite scary,
right,
and quite hard, and it's very. It's kind of action-packed, and it's very full of incident, and you know, there's a sort of monster in it who's lurking in the shadows who. It makes it quite scary. So it's not a typical costume drama.
Right.
It's actually 10 months in total, really, from January, when he conducted the final performance of Marriage of Figaro, until October, when he conducted the world premiere of Don Giovanni.
Right.
But of course, there was a gap in between, so it's probably overall could have been around 5 months.
Right.
That's the way our film is.
So you said that this film is a thriller. It's actually dealing with Mozart, music, and murder.
Yeah.
How do these three all relate to each other?
Well, it's the Mozart. I think we've made Mozart probably really quite similar to the actual man,
right?
As much as we can. I mean, the point is that he was a total genius. He was composing, you know, incredibly sophisticated pieces of music at the age of about 9, which puts him into a place where he's a very unusual person and a very unusual personality, and not necessarily, you know, the Milos Forman film Amadeus was about a man who didn't fit in socially at all well, and I think that's probably true. So we
don't think he was quite as quirky, though.
No, we don't. No, but the I suppose the point is that he wore his heart on his sleeve, which means that he was very intense and very passionate, and you know, in the space of a sentence, he could go from being incredibly sad to incredibly happy. You know, everything affected him and the way he was and the way he wrote music. And whilst he was in Prague, he got involved with a love affair of a beautiful young soprano who was under the thumb of a very dictatorial, controlling aristocrat. And so it's like almost like a triangle. The three of them kind of clash horribly. And this guy is an absolute monster, and she actually dies, this girl, in the end, and it's the emotions of all of that going on which caused him to write this piece of music. It's very exciting.
Right.
But the markers are the beginning, Marriage of Figaro, and the end, Don Giovanni, and the in-between part is the fictional part. I wrote to try to imagine how this fairly quirky character might have behaved during that time, and how other people reacting with him would have behaved in order to make him think through and produce Don Giovanni.
I know this film is written by Brian Ashby, so I want to know what inspired you to write this film and write the fictional part of this whole story. How did that happen? It just came to you, or you just developed? It was a character development kind of thing.
I'd written 3 books, and I decided the next one I want to write as a screenplay. And I love Mozart's music. Absolutely love Mozart's music. And I thought that I knew that he'd made 2 visits in 1787. And I thought that it would be interesting to do a fictional part, which fitted with the sort of man that he was, but made the interaction between the other personalities bring about his thoughts for how he would make his masterpiece, Don Giovanni.
Oh, and I know that you originally wrote this for a screenplay. How did it become a movie?
Well, Brian wrote a fantastic script, and it's a, you know, it's a really, really good idea. You know, like every good film, it has to have a very, very good idea behind it, which this one has. And then, so I was attracted to the concept and the first script that Brian wrote, and then we probably spent nearly 2 years. Kind of developing. I mean, there was a lot of work.
Developing and polishing. In fact, what happened was that a fellow member of Mensa introduced me to John, and that was about 4 years ago. And when the moment we met, we hit it off pretty well together, you know, and saw eye to eye, and so it really there was never any doubt that we were going to make it into a film, and it worked all the way through until we had the world premiere in the Odeon, Leicester Square, London, on the 11th of May this year.
How did that go?
Good.
Brilliantly.
A lot of people.
There are 1,760 seats in the cinema, and we were sold out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So how was the whole, how long did the whole production take? I know you guys met 4 years ago, and polishing the script took 2 years.
Well, it wasn't just polishing the script. I pretty much storyboarded the whole film.
Oh, I see.
Because it's quite complex the way it's shot. So it was all storyboarded, and you know we had to. There's a lot of preparation for a film like that, you know.
Exactly.
And just finding the locations took about 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Just finding the right place to shoot it. So yeah, it developed. The whole development of the film took about 2 years,
right,
including the script.
Well, they found a Baroque theatre, for example, and so the original theatre, the Nostitz Theatre, was, because of health and safety, didn't look anything like it used to look when Mozart was conducting. And so they found this wonderful Baroque theatre in the south of Czech Republic, which was inside a castle and only used for people to look at.
Right.
It was a museum, really.
And the our Czech producer persuaded them to allow us to film.
Right.
In this, it's the first time that had happened, and so it looks like the conditions in which Mozart would have conducted back then in 1787. And so we used that as the Nostitz Theatre, the inside of the Nostitz Theatre. We still use the outside, the Nostitz Theatre, which is there now in Prague.
Right. And the whole film, I saw the trailer of it. I didn't get to see the film yet, and it looks just visually, super visually appealing. I mean, especially the costumes, the people, the makeup, everything, which is so extravagant and glamorous. How was that part of the creative process like?
Well, it was, we took an enormous amount of care over all of it, so, we had I had a very good production designer, Luciana Orecki, who has actually designed quite a lot of opera as well as film. She's an Oscar winner film designer, but she's also done opera. And then an amazing costume designer and an amazing group of costume people. And everything was kind of, like the old-fashioned way of making movies, the colours of the costumes and the sets were all very carefully worked out together, so that everything complemented each other, and it was, it was intentionally done that way. And then, because we had an idea, I mean, before we got into the post-production area, I'd already done film tests. As I say, we were very prepared for this film. I'd already done film tests, so I knew, and which I'd graded, so I knew exactly what the sort of look of the film needed to be before we started shooting. So the costume and the sets and everything kind of worked together. It was all part of the same kind of jigsaw puzzle.
I see. Did you ever visualize your film was going to turn out this amazing?
That's a very good question, because I honestly didn't. I was amazed and delighted when I saw the finished product. And
you were part of the post-production crew?
Brian came and saw me a lot while we were doing it.
During post-production. But I also I took my partner and 9 other guests, and we were extras in the film. In the masked ball scene, we were extras.
I want to be an extra for the ball.
You would have loved it. It was great fun. Yes.
Yeah, well, they need an Asian girl, right?
The film is being screened on the 11th of November here in Los Angeles, and you ought to try and see it. It's a lovely film to see. And look out for the masked ball. It's
I will look for you. I will look for you.
He looks great in a pair of tights.
You guys have masks, right?
Yeah.
Like those,
masks,
it's amazing.
So you won't recognize me.
Masquerade ball.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Oh my
I have
goodness.
to be sitting with you and pointing out that that's me there.
Exactly. Yeah, I need you by my side to point you out. So how do you feel like the Chinese audience will love this film?
I think they might. Yeah, I think they might. I mean, it's very dramatic,
right.
you know, and it's very colourful. And I think I guess the important thing is that you can take this film on several different levels. You know, you don't have to be a classical music lover to love this film. I mean, the music is amazing and it's fantastic, it's extraordinary, but it just fits in with the film. So it's like an incredible film score. There's also a modern score as well. It's not all Mozart. We actually used some electronic music in it as well, which works with the Mozart stuff. And we recorded a huge orchestra in Prague at the same time as well. So yeah, so the music's quite a big part of it, and I mean I think you can just take it on face value. You don't even have to know that it's Mozart, and the story is compelling and kind of scary, and it's a modern story. You know, it's the people are behaving like they would in modern Los Angeles.
Exactly.
I'm convinced that Chinese people will enjoy watching it because it's a fast-moving film. It's not. Don't think it's an opera lover's film. It isn't. It's for the general public, and that was deliberate on our part. Deliberate in the way that I wrote the original script, and deliberate in the way that John has shot the film. And for example, we already have distributors for Japan, South Korea, among others. But so in Asia, we do have we do have
mass distribution.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'd love to see the Chinese people enjoying it as well. And
we would.
Perfectly sure they will.
We would. Yeah.
I think it's a story that it could be accepted by a worldwide range of audience because everybody knows Mozart. Everyone.
Yeah.
So what propelled you to write about his story? What are you trying to convey through the story?
Well, I guess the theme of the story is basically that that out of the most horrific situations, good can come, and the power of sort of genius is sort of transcends everything, which it does in our film. But it's a tragedy. The film is actually a tragedy. It doesn't really have a
romantic tragedy.
A romantic tragedy. It doesn't. The happy ending is the opera itself. The people are left, basically hung out to dry by what goes on.
But I suppose that the moral of the story is, don't ever press your children to marry anyone other than people they love.
Sounds like Romeo and Juliet.
It is a bit.
Exactly.
It's a bit, yeah. I think it's a great thing that you guys are doing here because you're bringing classical music back. Right now in today's world, everyone is just, they are really, it's all about EDM, electronic music, or just something that's simple, has simple lyrics. People kind of forget about classical music now.
Of course.
There were classics. There were legends, right? All those Mozart, all those people, they were legends. And you guys are bringing that back.
I mean, in this case, they'll be able to listen to the classical music whilst watching the action, the fairly swift action.
Right.
So that no one will be bored. You don't have to ever go to an opera, and you'll still enjoy this film, I think.
Right. And you guys were at the Chinese American Film Festival TV and Film Showcase. So I want to ask, because we have a lot of filmmakers from China and America that were present that day, and I just want to ask, how much significance do you guys place on co-productions? Because I understand that this film is a co-production as well.
Yes, it is. It's a British Czech Republic co-production.
Right.
I mean, I think I think it's great to have partners in other parts of the world, and I think as far as a co-production is concerned, I mean, I can see us on our next film doing a co-production with Canada. I mean, I've shot films everywhere, really, all over the world. So I've done co-productions in Ireland and in the US. And in Australia. I worked on a film called Babe, which was about the pig.
Babe?
Yeah, the pig, yeah. And that was all shot in Australia, although it looks like England. And so that was an Australian-British co-production. So yeah.
That's amazing.
But with our next screenplay that we're
you guys are working on together?
Now, yeah.
What is it called?
Well, the working title is Friend or Foe.
Oh, Friend or Foe. Yes. Okay, okay.
That's the working title now. And so that's something which we would welcome sharing, if you like, with either American or Chinese development.
Right.
Yeah.
I know there's an actor or actress in there is Asian or Chinese, right? So have you guys thought about any potential actress or actors that you want to be in this film, that you want to work with?
Yes, there's one I saw at the Chinese American Film Festival.
The one that you saw at the Chinese American Film Festival,
yes.
Which one?
Well, I can't tell you that because I've made a note of it, but I don't have it with me.
No, though when we haven't really got to that stage yet of casting the film. So I mean, there's some amazing people out there that we could use for the film, but we're still in the early stages of development, so we're not quite at the casting stages.
But the leads.
Come on, give me a name. I want a name. Who do you want to work with the most from China?
I'm not sure I know that many people from China.
No, I don't.
Well, what's your favorite film from China? Or co-productions?
Inn of the Sixth Happiness.
End of the Sixth.
Inn of the Sixth Happiness.
I don't think I know that one.
Crouching Tiger.
Oh, Crouching Tiger. Okay, that's many people's favorite. What about Rush Hour?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've actually interviewed the producer of Rush Hour.
Yeah, extraordinary.
Yeah. He was the first one that brought Jackie Chan to Hollywood.
Oh, is that right?
Right. Yeah. That's amazing.
Really amazing. Yeah. And actually, the festival last night was an eye opener for us. We really enjoyed it and really enjoyed, the idea that China and the West are working together to produce entertainment is such a great idea. I think it's got a big future.
Are you guys looking to work with Chinese producers or film companies anytime soon?
Yes, we are.
We're very happy to.
I mean, James Su has been, fantastically helpful, and we're looking to work with him. I mean, I would very much like to do a trip to China quite soon and have a look at Chinese film facilities, and especially I'm sort of fascinated by animation as well, because I think there's quite a lot of animation going on in China, which is very interesting. So, of course.
How do you guys view the Chinese film market right now?
Very healthy.
Very healthy. Yes. It's becoming one of the largest film markets.
So I've heard.
How much have grown? Yeah.
No, it's massive. I mean, I think it's one of
in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's one of the few places where cinemas are still being built.
Right.
Whereas everywhere else they're being ripped down.
They are.
Which is a shame. So it's great that people appreciate the big screen in China.
Right.
So you need to have films that need the big screen.
Right.
And you can watch this on a television screen.
Right.
Including Prague, but on a big screen, much more exciting.
A whole different experience.
Much more exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah. It was designed for the big screen.
Yeah, and they need good script writers like you, Brian, right? We're looking for those a lot. And okay, thank you so much for coming onto this interview. I really appreciate all the stories you share with me. I hope to see more exciting and new projects coming up from you guys. And let me know who you guys choose to cast in your new project.
We will, yes.
Cheers, thank you very much. Very good.
好的，以上呢就是我们今天对话好莱坞的全部内容了，感谢大家的收看，我们下一期同一时间再见了，拜拜。谢谢 ，Thank you。
Dare I dream of such a man, Susanna?
There are rumors. Ladies, some married.
Just don't be alone with him.
Finally, I have you all to myself. There's little doubt that they are lovers.
I can destroy him.
Don Giovanni is a wicked man. They're playing a dangerous game here, Maestro.
Haven't you blossomed?
I am frightened. He is the devil. He must be punished.